Hey there, and welcome to Geopolitics 411. Very exciting news across the world, of course, on the geopolitical space. And this is because top of the two world leaders are having a meeting this Friday. I'm speaking about President Trump and President Putin of Russia. So all eyes are set for Alaska on the 15th, that is to see if this meeting will yield fruits, or will it just be another meeting where they meet, talk, and nothing happens. Remember, before President Trump was, during his campaigns rather, he had vowed that he would end the Russia-Ukraine war within 24 hours. 8 months later, many talks later, we're still watching to see. Can this Friday be the day that judgment and maybe the war comes to an end? Let's see. Actually, tell me what you think in the comment section before their talks happen. So this is the first time the two leaders, that is the U.S. President Trump and the President of Russia, are having a meeting in more than 4 years. And the U.S. and Russia have agreed to hold the meeting between Presidents Trump and Vladimir Putin on Friday the 15th. Basically, just to discuss how to end the Ukraine war. So Trump announced the meeting a week beforehand, and this was the same day. Just before he announced the meeting, he had given Russia 10 to 12 days to decide either to a ceasefire or he would slap them with sanctions like he has done for India. So, and he was going also, while he was attacking India, his target was to attack countries or nations that get their oil from Russia. So he had given that 10, 12 days. So on the final day when the deadline was coming, that's when, instead of him coming to announce that now we've taken sanctions are going to happen for this country, he just came and surprised everyone and said, so we have agreed to have a meeting, and this is going to happen between the two presidents. And this was the same day the deadline was happening for the ceasefire. So he just came and announced we're going to have a meeting with President Putin. Very interesting news that day. I mean, it came as a surprise to a lot of people in the world. So the two countries' diplomats, before this meeting happened, the two countries, their top diplomats, that's Secretary of State Marco Rubio for the U.S. and the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, spoke on Tuesday to discuss certain aspects of the preparation, according to a statement given by Russia's foreign ministry. Prior to this meeting, there have been 3 rounds of talks between Russia and Ukraine, and they've all been held at the behest of President Trump. But they have not brought the two sides to any closer agreement of peace agreement. So that's still going on. Trump has been pushing hard without much success to end the war in Ukraine. Of course, he's been trying this hard because it was one of his campaign things that he used. His campaign, the issue of ending the Russia-Ukraine war was such a big thing. And so 8 months down the line, having not succeeded with that, I mean, I'm sure it's something he really wants. I'm sure the day they meet and maybe they agree, headlines will be Trump ends war. And that for him, as we know, as Trump, that will be a win. So during his campaign, President Trump had, of course, pledged to end the war within 24 hours of taking office. And he was actually arguing that had he been the president at that time, this war would not have happened. Of course, that was throwing the blame on President Biden for allowing the war to have happened. And then, of course, if he says it shouldn't have happened in the first place, and if he had been the president at the time of the invasion in 2022. So this meeting happening, and if he succeeds, it will be cementing the words that he used. So the highly anticipated meeting comes after the U.S. peace envoy Steve Witkoff held a highly productive talks with President Putin in Moscow, according to a statement given by Trump. Trump said that his views of the summit, very interesting, he's actually calling it a feel-out meeting aimed at urging Putin to end the war. From where I sit, I feel like these two leaders know they are very big. Like Trump knows he's a world leader. President Putin knows he's a world leader. And for this meeting that happened earlier with Trump's guy, I feel like they just went and President Putin gave his terms and conditions and maybe said these are the non-negotiables. And so when this was delivered to Trump, it was easy to convince to ask for a meeting between the two leaders. What does that say about President Zelensky? Unfortunately, if you're not on the menu, you, if you're not on the table, you are on the menu. So probably he's going to have to make so many sacrifices, or decisions are going to be made that are going to affect Ukraine, unfortunately. But that's how the world runs, and there are things that can't be easily changed, because he's not going to be part of the meeting of the two. So the meeting is taking place in Alaska State, and very interesting is that this is land that the U.S. purchased from Russia in 1867, and of course it lends a historical resonance to the meeting. And Alaska became a U.S. state in 1959. So the two leaders will be hosted at a joint base, Elmendorf Richardson. This is the largest military installation in Alaska. Sits on a 64,000-acre base and is a key U.S. site for Arctic military readiness in case of attack. Also, the choice of the location was more. It's like this is actually the border for Russia and U.S. This is what they consider their border between the two nations. So it was easier for that. I think also for purposes of making both leaders comfortable, because the land belonged to Russia previously. Of course, it belongs to the U.S., but also there's a base there. So also with the idea of having, remember President Putin has a warrant of arrest from the ICC. So I think even for him, the location matters, because at least there he's sure he cannot be arrested, come what may. So also in case of anything, they're both safe. Trump, however, says that Zelensky would be the first person he would call after the meeting. This was after people questioned, why are you meeting President Putin alone without Zelensky, who is also a partner in this? And he just said, we will talk to them. Also, the European Union leadership has really been pushing, be it Macron, be it Keir Starmer. All these leaders have been saying, no, there's no discussion that should be taking place without having Ukraine, who's involved in this, at the table. But it is what it is. I mean, Trump and Putin are meeting. So even with the European Union speaking out, and as the Hungary Prime Minister, Orbán said, if you're not on the table where big people are negotiating. I mean, the Hungary Prime Minister actually says, from the look of things, it is evident that Russia has won this war, because they are on the table to discuss issues that involve them and Ukraine is not there. Also, Trump had said that, Zelensky has said that there is no any agreements without input from Ukraine would amount to dead decisions. But the truth is, this is a statement the president is making, and he has a right to make it, actually. But the truth is, whatever decisions that will stem from this discussion, they will affect his country. And so for him saying it would be dead decisions, I am not sure how that will pan out, but I am watching. Trump also had earlier warned that there might have to be some swapping changes in land. This was a thing he gave before this meeting. Zelensky pushed back this week against any idea of swapping territories, but you see already that had been suggested. So you never know if Trump's guy, when he went to Moscow, this was what they discussed. And he also said that we will not reward, Zelensky said, we will not reward Russia for what it has perpetrated. Very interesting perspectives, but all eyes are set for Alaska 15th to see how this conversation between these two leaders end. But one thing I am certain President Putin cannot be treated or be put in the same way. You remember when Zelensky went to State House and he was being questioned for not wearing a suit? I don't think President Trump can treat Putin to such a stage of embarrassment, because he has respect for this man for sure. And the fact that they have stopped putting in money for Ukraine, then that means a lot. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments section, and also hopefully this marks the end of the Russia-Ukraine war, hopefully. But of course, for that to end, we are certain the issue of NATO, that does not sit. The issue of Zelensky, Ukraine joining EU market, that will not fly. Anyway, thanks for watching Geopolitics 4-1. We'll catch you on the next episode.